life didn't work that way. I feel her beating hard, I hear her cries. Why can't we all have an equal shot at this one life? And whether you thank God to put her Jesus straight towards Mecca, or think it's so useless, I think we can agree we need equality. Let's put our words into action and start a chain reaction. No matter where you're from or what you believe, things gotta change, and it starts with you and me. Now I'm not saying the praying ain't good, but actions speak louder than our silent words. Yeah, we're all on this road together, trying to make our lives better. Why don't we help a few along the way? Struggling to make ends meet, lost touch with his family. No choice but to work and leave behind a dream of a law degree. I feel his beating heart, I hear his cries. Why can't we all have an equal shot at this one life? And whether you thank God to put her Jesus straight towards Mecca, or think it's so useless, I think we can agree we need equality. Let's put our words into action and start a chain reaction. No matter where you're from or what you believe, things gotta change, and it starts with you and me. Things gotta change, and it starts with you and me.
Thank you, Abby Brown. What a great way to start things off. And just so everybody knows, Abby wrote that song specifically for this evening. Welcome, welcome. Thank you all for being here with us. We are incredibly excited about this evening. I'm Pete Burridge, the founder and CEO of Greenhouse Scholars.
And I'm Andra Poole, the Chief Relationship and Community Officer.
We appreciate very much all of you that are dedicating this time. And for the 65 hosts and our corporate sponsors with us this evening, you are everything to this event. Thank you.
In particular, we want to thank our valedictorian sponsors, Anderson, Gresham, the Caruso Foundation, and Zayo. They, together with all of the sponsors listed here and our 65 hosts who recruited others to the event, you are true partners in every way, all year long and year after year. This event is incredibly important for us. Our community, and many of you with us here tonight, rallied hugely for us in the spring. Since then, revenue is harder to come by. And all of our 7 live events across the country have been canceled and the associated revenue lost. It's also likely that 2021 could be a difficult year for nonprofits through a recession, and that affects individuals and businesses and will affect philanthropic choices. So tonight is about rallying for our shared future.
For all of you who are new to Greenhouse Scholars and even our loyalists, it is always good to talk briefly about what we are trying to accomplish. For 15 years, we have been working to make big progress on racial equality and equity. We literally started Greenhouse Scholars to level the playing field across diverse communities. We represent a critical solution to the conversation on race that is so prominent today. So if you've been moved to act over these recent months, We are a community for you to join or increase your involvement behind because we've been producing tangible, lasting results related to racial equality for 15 years. Opportunity, choice, and belief is what we are focused on. If everyone can see opportunity for themselves, their families, and their communities, if everyone feels they have choices, choices that are good choices, if everyone has genuine belief in their future, our communities and our country will thrive. And education is the provider of opportunity, choice, and belief. Education is the great equalizer. We are illuminating a path forward through higher education. We are working from within our country's lowest resource communities with those communities' most inspiring, highest performing young leaders and supporting them with a whole person program to create success for them in college and beyond. Scholarship and other financial support, mentors, internships, jobs, leadership and entrepreneurship training, life skills, and a network of lifelong support. But even more important to our mission is why we have designed our unique model for lasting community change. We aren't just working with a couple hundred superstars across the country, although we are certainly doing that. We are working through education in our lowest resource communities' highest performers to inspire, motivate, model, and lead broader change for thousands. We believe our model focuses resources in a way that produces the biggest impact. We are illuminating a path forward for thousands upon thousands of young people. We are working from within our country's most under-resourced communities to create lasting generational change in families and those communities broadly. Tonight, you will learn more about our work and our results, and there is much more about us we won't be able to cover in this hour. But our sincere hope is that tonight, you will find another reason to be all in with us.
Speaking of that, Pete.
Thank you.
Pete and I are honored to welcome you, everyone here live, and the 700 people who are logging into the event this evening and supporting us from San Francisco to Washington, D.C. and New York. We've got Australia and Thailand tuning in here tonight as well. Here are just a few of them. Hi, everyone. This includes our scholars and scholar alums, staff members, so many great faces, and babies, too. Please raise a glass with us. We'd like to toast to community because it takes all of us working together, our staff, our scholars, our donors, our mentors, our new scholar selection volunteers, our supporters of all types and stripes, philanthropic leaders, high school teachers and administrators, and of course our scholar alums, to achieve our vision to create a community of leaders who will evolve the communities of the world. We are counting on you now more than ever. To all that we've achieved, to all that we will achieve, to our community, cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the next 45 minutes.
And if I think of like one moment that kind of changed my way of thinking about myself, we were doing a ropes course. It was my turn, and I get up there, and I'm trying to reach this handhold, and it's too far. And I said, I'm done. But Pete decides that no, you can do it. Come on, keep going. You're almost there. No, I really can't. I can't reach it. I might be like bruising my knee because I'm like trying to hold myself there. So I tried, and I reached up there, then I got it. And I got up there because they didn't let me come down. I feel like oftentimes you really need your community to rally around you.
I actually came to America in 1999 as a refugee. So before that, we lived in a refugee camp. When we came to America, we came with one duffel bag for 7 of us. I have 2 brothers, 2 sisters, and my parents.
How old were you when you moved here?
When I moved here, I was 5.
Yeah. And what about that experience do you think shapes who you are today?
For me, like coming from a war at such a young age, I struggled a lot with PTSD. It had a very traumatic experience on me, but that is exactly why I wanted to study childhood development, because I want to help other people who can work through that the way that I have been able to.
If you could, for just a second, picture with me the idea of everybody in the world being able to get a college-level education. Just picture that for a second. Therefore, having the opportunity to choose what they want to do with their lives. How does that not change the world? The beginning of Greenhouse Scholars was about the idea of impact, the idea of how can we make the biggest possible impact. And I really believe strongly that we are one of the most important solutions for the idea of racial equality and racial equity. I think education is the way that people can really see and believe that they can do what they want with their lives. When you think about what education can do in low-income, low-resource communities, when you think about the fact that we're working with those communities' most inspiring role models, the people that the other young people in those communities are following, the ones they look up to, those are the Greenhouse Scholars. They need to be able to see other people have success so they can believe.
This last year I wrote a story just about the actual experience of crossing the border. When I came to this country, I was undocumented. My mom came, with 4 kids, and I don't know how she did it. Thinking about it now, I know that I would do whatever I could to give my daughter the best opportunity in life. And I can't imagine how much fear she must have had coming to this country, but knowing that ultimately she was doing what was best for her kids. Hearing you guys right now, it makes so much sense. It's okay, what impact do you want to leave in your community? And for me, that one is simple. I can, and I will, empower students and parents to take charge of their education, helping students believe in themselves.
For me, the ability to live a life of your choosing means that your background doesn't entirely define your lot in life. That concept is core to our ideal and to the American dream. I think those choices only come if you know what your options are in the first place. Our scholars are truly deserving. They're not a charity case. They don't want our pity. But what they want is a fair shot, an even playing field, so that they too can pursue a life of their choosing. It's about having access to networks, to resources, to an education that gives them hope. Our supporters have told us that Greenhouse Scholars changes their lives. They've told us that they have different conversations around the dinner table with their families, and that they lead their companies in new and different ways because they were involved in Greenhouse Scholars and because it changed the way that they wanted to lead. It's really extraordinary what we can do together when everyone is on board and all in.
It's been kind of tough for them because my mom's not working. She's still recovering from her stroke. And then my dad, he can't really work because he kind of also has to take care of my mom a little bit, so he just does Uber when he can. But it was really tough during COVID because there's no Uber, there's no calls, and we've been living, I guess, well. We're not complaining about anything or anything like that. So my dad tells me this thing. He says, your money can be stolen, your clothes can be stolen, and nowadays your identity can be stolen, But the one thing that they can steal is your knowledge or your mind. And knowledge can give you the option to do whatever you want in your life. The knowledge that I was able to get by going through college with the support of Greenhouse has allowed me to have this life of choices.
We believe that the idea of community is one of the most powerful ways that we're going to be able to be successful. The idea of real, lasting change.
I really wish that all of you could meet Norma, Adita, and Nebs in person this evening. I've known some of them for more than a decade now. They are all totally incredible. That video only begins to do their stories justice. I know many of you have had the chance to be inspired with them too. Nebs, by the way, who you saw in the video, is looking for a job right now. He graduated in the class of 2020. He is interested in mechatronics, mechanical, electrical, or computer engineering. So I'm giving him a plug if any of you have a job opportunity out there. You're welcome, Nebs. If you are going to give more to Greenhouse Scholars this year, tonight is the night. I want to start by introducing Reggie Rivers. Reggie is a former Denver Broncos running back, a professional broadcaster. He's a force of personality locally and nationally, and we've had so much fun collaborating with him. Hello, Reggie.
Thank you, Andrea. Hey, it's nice to be here. And Neb's Mechatronics sounds like a great football nickname. I mean, you could hear it now. Mechatronics around the right side, 80 yards for a touchdown, Mechatronics. So if you decide to go in that direction, I think that you've got your nickname. But I'm excited to be here because Greenhouse Scholars and the work that you guys do, I think resonates a lot with my wife and me because it's so similar to our experience. I grew up in a family where nobody had ever gone to college. Nobody in my extended family that I knew of had ever gone to college. I wasn't thinking about college. I have 3 older siblings. They graduated from high school. They joined the Air Force. I was planning to graduate from high school and join the Air Force. My dad had been in the Air Force straight out of high school. And at the school that I went to, which was an Air Force school, pretty much everybody graduated from high school and joined the Air Force. In my senior year, I had scouts come and look at me, and for the first time, I seriously thought about college. I ended up getting a football scholarship. My wife, who I met in my 30s, well, she was, when she was in high school, she wasn't thinking about college either. Nobody in her family had gone to college. She got a track scholarship. And when we arrived on campus, it wasn't that they had just given us a check and said, hey, here's how to pay for college. What they did is that they gave us support. We had coaches around us. We had counselors. We had tutors. We had resident assistants in the dorms. We had upperclassmen who were on the team who were assigned to help us. And it was that support that helped us get through college and advance. And I think that's so much of what you guys do. It's not that you give people a check. It's not that you just say, we're going to pay for college. It is that wraparound support. And so that's why my wife and I feel so passionately about this. I now have a master's degree. My wife has a master's degree. I have 3 siblings who went to college in their 40s and 50s and got their degrees. And so we have now nieces and nephews who are in college. And so it really is this transformative generational thing. All right, so tonight we're featuring 3 different initiatives that provide a window into some of what Greenhouse Scholars does. And it'll give you 3 different ways to get involved. First, Andrea is going to suggest a long-term opportunity, which is the sponsor scholars in the class of 2024. 2024! You're going to sponsor them for the next 5 years. After that, Lauren Hudgens is going to dive into the Community Impact Initiative, the newest and most entrepreneurial component of Greenhouse Scholars, where the scholars work together to implement solutions for low-income K-12 students. And then third, Saul Huerta will share the power of the internships and careers program, which are critical at a time like this when the job market is its worst in modern history and when companies need top and diverse talent. So when you donate to Greenhouse Scholars through this event, you can select any of these specific initiatives to support, and here's how you do it. On your screen, you see a Donate Now button, a green button in the upper right-hand corner. You click that button, it's going to ask you to fill out a little bit of information about yourself. Do that right now so that then anytime you feel inspired tonight, you can make a donation. We hope that you'll make at least 1 donation tonight, but it could be like a drinking game. Every time you get inspired, you make another donation. All right, so finally, we'll end the evening with uplifting voices from our community and an opportunity to support the organization's top priorities and general operating needs through a general appeal. Now, you are not going to want to miss what we have in store for you between now and then. We have already raised, where are we so far?
I just checked, we're over $290,000.
$290,000.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That is amazing. Okay, so thanks to all of you who have contributed so far. And we're going to see if we can rocket past our goal of $350,000 tonight. So if you haven't made a donation, please do so. If you've already made one, make another one. Let's go. All right, first up, though, is Miss Andrea. She's going to share with us about the Sponsor a Scholar program and how you can personally support a scholar from the class of 2024.
It is my great pleasure to get to tell you now about our freshman class of Greenhouse Scholars. This group is really, really deserving. The need and demand for our services at Greenhouse Scholars is so high that we only accepted 3.8% of the qualified students who applied this year. That's crazy. It's an acceptance rate that's more competitive than Harvard. This is the class that missed out on their senior prom and high school graduation, and so far their college experience looks a lot different than what most of us remember. What these 19 students have achieved already is remarkable. Like all of our students, 100% are from low-income families. Their positivity is infectious. They are making the most of the Greenhouse Scholars program. They are all in, and I am inviting you to be all in with us. The average program cost per scholar is $10,000 per year for 5 years. That's before, during, and after college. Many of you are already familiar with our Sponsor a Scholar model, where private groups of friends, family, or colleagues pitch in $10,000 per year for 5 years. Now we're taking that model and crowdfunding it. So tonight, you can donate any amount that you like. But we ask that you give the same amount every year until they graduate in 2024. And if you, as a group, raise $10,000 for this initiative, you will together sponsor 1 scholar. When you hit 20,000, you'll sponsor 2 scholars, and so on. We will send you customized updates about your scholar's progress during our program, and that scholar will also have opportunities to get to know each of you. So to illustrate this opportunity, I am so excited to welcome 4 incredible community members of Greenhouse Scholars who have participated firsthand in the Greenhouse Scholars Sponsor a Scholar program. Hi, everybody. Welcome.
Hey, guys. What's up, guys?
We have here Dave Kirkpatrick, our founding supporter of Greenhouse Scholars in Georgia, Stockton Croft, who is both part of a Sponsor a Scholar group together with Dave and other friends. And Stockton and Dave together sponsored Amadou Ba. Amadou is a Greenhouse Scholar and graduate of Stanford University who now works at North Point Advisors, an opportunity he got thanks to the Greenhouse Scholars program. And then immediately after graduation, Amadou turned around to his friends, Dave and Stockton and some others, and asked them to sponsor Abdul, our newest scholar in the class of 2024. Guys, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Dave, I want to start with you. What inspired you to launch Greenhouse Scholars in Georgia?
Well, for me, it really goes back to a young lady we met in Denver. I'm from Denver, and our family sponsored a young lady named Mackenzie Metcalf. And we had such a tremendous experience with her. When Mackenzie graduated from college, I approached Andra and others with Greenhouse and said, this was just a magnificent experience. Is there any way we can bring this same model from Colorado to Georgia? We now have a really thriving program going on in Georgia.
Well, so originally the way the scholarship came together was Dave has been part of a guys golf group called Diva, which is Denison and Virginia 8-on-8 golf tournament that goes back 20 years, which really had no redeeming qualities other than having the 8 of us get together. And so when we first were introduced to Greenhouse, we thought, wow, this could be a great opportunity to give something back. So we brought together the scholarship and brought the money together as a group. And it was really something that enabled us as a group to do something a little bit more than just play golf. And then I was approached about becoming a mentor once we picked Amadou. And really, I felt that I'd served on different nonprofits, but at a high level. And I really wanted to make just a direct impact on one person. And so met Amadou, I guess going back 5 or 6 years now at this point, when he was a skinny little guy getting ready to go to Stanford, with his eyes wide open about all the great things he was going to achieve. And honestly, it's been just a joy because, unlike, parents with a kid, I was able to really just be, a non-judgmental soundboard.
Amadou, tell us a little bit about yourself. What should our community know about who you are?
Well, I was a part of the first cohort of the Georgia Scholar Group. I graduated from Stanford in 2019 with a degree in public policy, had a little econ in there, was on the pre-med track, and now I currently work for North Point Advisors as an investment banker.
Amadou, just after you graduated from the program, you turned around and chose to sponsor a scholar. And why was that important to you?
It's all about paying forward. It's a quote that says, "To whom much is given, much is expected." And I think it is my duty. It is my responsibility. I don't consider you a leader if it's all about you. I think the best leaders are the people that bring up people along with them.
I couldn't agree more. Thank you, Amadou. I think that's such a strong and powerful perspective. Abdul, we're thrilled to welcome you to the Greenhouse Scholars Program and tonight to our broader community of supporters. Could you please tell them a little bit about what they should know about you?
Yeah, I'm from Guinea, where Amadou's parents are from. And I was raised there till I was 6 years old. And then I moved to Atlanta. The schools, the area, it doesn't give you a lot of resources to become successful. So I'm just honored to be surrounded with so many people that can help me succeed. Right now, I'm at Cornell University studying urban and regional studies. My main interest is sustainable transportation and developing low-income communities.
Tonight, we're encouraging members of our community to sponsor scholars in your class of 2024. You're already sponsored by this group, but we're looking for sponsors to join for some of the other students. Could you please tell us more about the other students in your class?
I think of it as a domino effect. The people here are all leaders and want change. I think of success as not how much money you make, but the impact you have on other people. And just listening to my cohort, what they want to do. And I think with Greenhouse, it could just amplify the effect of those people.
Dave, I want to go back to you. I know that you would like to grow the Greenhouse Scholars Program. Why do you think that's important?
Well, we have an incredible engine in place right now. We've got the application process in place. We've got a great relationship with Georgia Public Schools. We just want to add more scholars. And that comes in the form of funding. It's now sort of watering this plant with funding.
Thank you, Dave. I appreciated your greenhouse analogy just right there with the watering of the plant.
That was unintended.
Stockton, what advice would you have for someone who's just learning about Greenhouse Scholars for the first time tonight?
I think with Greenhouse, you will, if you sponsor a scholar, you will get to know that scholar and you can make a difference in their life and you can just see the tangible difference it makes.
To me, that's what Greenhouse stands for. I mean, it's a deeper connection with fewer people than a lot of other organizations. But as Stockton said, for the select group of people that are Greenhouse scholars, it really changes their life forever. And I can tell with zero reservations, our family's gotten way more out of our time with Greenhouse than we've put in, because each young person is more inspiring than the last.
Yeah, just reflecting here, probably the moment that I will always remember was I was invited to go to Amadou's graduation out at Stanford. The Friday night before graduation, they have the Black students have their own graduation. And so I went to that. And first off, everybody loved Amadou. I mean, every time his name came up, you just couldn't believe the cheers that would erupt whenever Amadou's name came up. And second, he was selected to be one of the very few speakers. And just the pride I had listening to him talk, and the thing that he said in that speech, which I will always remember, is he said, look, I started down here, but I've now got a seat at the table. Because I have a seat at the table, I'm going to give all of you that I grew up with a seat at the table. And that, to me, is a lot of what this is all about.
Thank you, Stockton. I couldn't agree more. And we want to make the table bigger. We're ready to fill more seats. Absolutely. And Amadou, what advice do you have for students in the class of 2024?
Just being authentic, being your true self, and, be a leader, Sometimes you might be the only voice in the room. You might be the only seat at the table. And you need to make that worth it. And whenever I go in a room, everyone that I represent walks in that room with me. And I hope that there are more people that are thinking like that.
Amazing. I think we're at time. I really, really value and appreciate each of you. And I'm honored to have your support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope everyone at home has a greater sense of the power of our Sponsor a Scholar program and why the class of 2024 deserves your support right now. Thank you.
That was awesome. And They say leaders don't make followers, leaders make more leaders. What I love about the Sponsor a Scholar idea is that it's long-term. You get to follow and be a part of an individual triumphs, and you get to stay connected to the scholar for several years to see how the Greenhouse Scholars Program positively affects the students over that span of time. Now, it's clear that I'm not alone. Several of our hosts for this event have been rallying their community to join them in sponsoring these deserving scholars. So thank you to Nancy and Bruce Downing, Yannick and Chloe Peterson, Brian and Janet Weed, Alex Housen and Sarah Clarkson. Thank you all for your advocacy. Now, if you want to join them, you can make a contribution tonight. You can donate by texting the word GH Future to 41444. It's that easy, GH Future to 41444, or you can click the Donate Now button on your screen, select the to sponsor these scholars from the class of 2024 in the drop-down menu. All right, so we've got some great news that just before we started this rally, 8Z Real Estate committed to sponsor 3 Greenhouse Scholars. Thank you so much, 8Z. And this is not their first time. You've sponsored several scholars who graduated, so you know what it's all about. You've seen the progress, you've seen the results, and we hope that your example encourages more people out there to make that important 5-year commitment to a scholar. All right, so now let's hear about the Community Impact Initiative. This is a really great example of how Greenhouse Scholars differs from other education nonprofits. The scholars are working directly with students from low-income schools. Here's Lauren Hudgens on the Greenhouse Scholars team to tell you more.
As a part of our program, each scholar class chooses a low-income middle or high school to positively impact over their 5 years as Greenhouse Scholars. The class works with their selected school to identify and develop an initiative that will benefit the students. We refer to this as the Community Impact Initiative. Scholars leverage their diverse experiences, skills, and leadership to mobilize positive change with a selected community based on their own ideas, planning, and in-person efforts. By focusing on the same school and community over several years, scholars develop deeper relationships and can establish long-lasting influence. The Community Impact Initiative is highly entrepreneurial, developing the critical skills and experience our scholars need to be an effective and successful employee, community leader, and change agent over their lifetime. The ripple effect that we all can have together is powerful and will mobilize change, equity, and opportunity, allowing more young students to live a life of their choosing. Now, I'd like all of you to hear from some of the people who've worked closely on a community impact initiative. Hey there, it's good to see you all.
Hello.
Welcome everyone, it's great to see you. And I'd like to start with you, Corey. Give us a sense of your background in education and why you believe in the promise of Greenhouse Scholars, working with students from similar backgrounds through the Community Impact Initiative.
Sure, well, thank you for having me. Let me start by saying that. So as a believer and a supporter of social emotional learning, it made the most sense for me to align myself with an organization that believes in promoting students not only academically, but really giving them a voice to act on issues that they believe are important and to put themselves in a position to make change.
Thank you, Corey. Rashid, my next question is for you. Tell us about your class's Community Impact Initiative.
Yeah, of course. So we just saw that there was a lack of resources for first generation low-income high school students on their way to college. So as a class, so we needed to do something with it. So we have a website college window, where we talk about different topics like applying for schools, applying for essays, applying for scholarships, FAFSA, pretty much everything that you would need as a student on your way to college. I think what is different about this is that all the stories that you have in this website, all the videos, all the tips, guidelines, that they are from the viewpoints of the actual scholars, right?
Thank you, Rashid. Faze, tell everyone a bit about the project your class is launching in a couple of weeks and the school that you're working with.
What we're doing is building an online platform where we can have peer advising sessions through the website, along with a bunch of resources specific to our 4 content areas, which is personal development, professional development, navigating the college application process, and then understanding loans, like financial issues like that. Along with that is also mental health resources, because times are tough right now. It's extremely hard to be a student right now and just navigate this whole process. And we understand that how hard that already was, and now how much more difficult it is. So that is one of our key focuses in creating content for that.
Thank you, Faze. Corey, what about the Community Impact Initiative do you believe can address some of the core challenges facing students in low-income schools?
It was a few years ago that I read a statistic from Gallup, which shared that hope is an indicator of success in students. That students that report they feel hopeful, that they have people around them that instill a sense of something bigger, actually do better in life. And I feel like if ever there was an opportunity to provide hope for your students, you would jump on it, right? So we have these beautiful brown college-bound people that enter schools with other beautiful brown students, and they get to see themselves, and they get to see the possibility, and they get to see what can happen.
Thank you, Corey. That's powerful. Providing students with hope. Faze,
absolutely.
Thinking back to your time in high school, what do you believe the Community Impact Initiative could have done for you and other students like you?
I think just exactly what Corey just said. It would give me hope. Seeing people like me who came from struggling background were able to persevere and got through those hardships and were able to navigate that process effectively. And then seeing them being in successful paths, I would want to know what they did, how they did it, and just follow along with the way, try to learn from them.
Rashid, I'll pass it back to you. So you let me know that you are thinking about how you might be able to continue your class's Community Impact Initiative now that you've graduated college, which is great. Tell us why you want to continue pursuing it.
Yeah, of course. Just because over the past 4 years, I saw the impact that it has. And I think what really excites me the most is to be able to follow a story of a scholar from high school to college, post-college, right? Family, last job, everything. So in the next 10 years, students like us can say, hey, you know what? Those kids did it, right? I have their whole story here. So I think that will also give some hope and also to help other students out as well.
Corey, my final question is for you. What would you say to school administrators and community leaders watching tonight, encouraging them to get involved in this program?
So I'm going to back up a second and say that I am a Greenhouse Scholars mentor to a mentee named Terry, who is one of the best people I've ever met. She's quite amazing. The caliber of students that are recognized by this organization are, it's quite extraordinary. The students that will be served through this initiative are supported by slightly older versions of themselves that understand what it's like to be a kid today. And as much as educators like to be all things for students, we cannot possibly understand what it's like to grow up in this age of media, to know what it's like to be exposed at higher levels and to have to navigate a global pandemic while they're in school. So all of these things are new to the generations coming up that some of us just can't connect to, but the Greenhouse Scholars can.
Thank you so much, Corey. What a wonderful way to close the panel. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you all being here. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you to our panelists, Corey, Faze, and Rashid. To our community, those of you watching, perhaps as you were listening, you had big ideas about what we can achieve with the Community Impact Initiative. Well, with your support, we will scale this program component. We want more initiatives to take place concurrently, more in-person opportunities between scholars and the schools they're serving, better systems and technology to support the projects, and more. Next, we will increase awareness and participation. We want to broaden the exposure of this program to high priority communities and schools throughout the U.S. We want to give more visibility and access points to our community so more of you can participate, advise, and provide resources. And finally, with your support, we will make an even greater impact through initiative continuation. This means funding the ability for scholars to continue their projects after graduation. If you are inspired by what you heard here tonight, we hope that you will consider supporting us by selecting Community Impact in the drop-down menu when you donate today, so that we can further our ability and our scholars' ability to have a meaningful impact in education and on the next generation of young leaders.
Wow, the Community Impact Initiative is powerful, it is unique. I've seen a lot of educational programs, and I think students helping other students who look like them and live in the same areas that they live in, that is the secret to this program. And so we want to try to keep helping these students. It is effective, it is real, it is authentic. Yeah, keep going up, please. Keep going up. So we're going to move on to our next video. We have 4 undergrad classes of scholars who are currently working on an initiative right now with 4 different low-income schools. And so how about we show them that we're behind them? You can join our hosts, Maureen and Aaron Medlock, and Lisa and Ted Neild, who have been fundraising for the Community Impact Initiative leading up to this event. So let's take a look at our total donations so far. I think we're going to see, if you have not yet done so, you can donate either by texting the word GHFuture to 41444, or you can click Donate on your screen and select Community Impact in the drop-down. All right, so now Saul Huerta, who has worked for Greenhouse Scholars for over 10 years, is here to talk about the importance, and you know what, we are going to show you our total. Do we have that total to show everybody where we are right now? Because you guys have been giving, and we're at $311,000 so far. Thank you so much to all of you who have given. Thank you for your generosity. Please keep those gifts coming. All right, we're going to continue now. Saul Huerta, who has worked for Greenhouse Scholars for more than 10 years, he's here to talk about the importance of internships and careers. And I can't imagine a more critical time when the scholars need our support to help them succeed in what is and what will be an incredibly tough job market. Let's take a listen.
Hi, I hope to demonstrate the extraordinary possibilities that you can create when you support our internships program. I know this because I've experienced it firsthand. I'm Saul Huerta. I've worked for Greenhouse Scholars for almost 10 years. I'm now the longest tenured and most senior associate in the organization's history. I'm also a Greenhouse Scholar myself. I grew up in Denver. Both my parents, who are from Juarez, Chihuahua, broke their backs day to day to give me the opportunity to chase my dream of attending college. Going to college was a game changer. I'm the first in my family to graduate. The opportunity to attend and graduate from college as a Latino male is something I don't take for granted. It's a big hurdle. It has sparked the passion to give more students like myself the same opportunity. But yet, this isn't the biggest hurdle. There's a perception in my community that a college diploma is like winning the lottery. But that's just wrong. Without career experience, professional networks, or employment advice, students from my background who graduate from college are still set up to fail. As an example, 60% of all internships are unpaid, and those that are paid are often less than minimum wage. Unfortunately, this is unattainable for most low-income college students who are responsible for bringing money home to make ends meet. Thanks to this organization, I and 300 other Greenhouse Scholars have unparalleled access to mentorship, career coaching, internships, skills modules, professional networking, and more. These services are deeper, more customized, and longer term than what's available anywhere else. The job I have now and the internship I got at Deloitte, thanks to my Greenhouse Scholars mentor, are just 2 examples. But we're not satisfied. Our team at Greenhouse Scholars wants and needs to do more. During a time when employment has been hit by COVID, when economic disparity is the highest in decades, and when companies are having new conversations about attracting and retaining diverse talent, Greenhouse Scholars is ideally positioned as a solution. Now, I want to introduce you to several people who have a strong understanding of the power of our internships and career program, and the economic opportunity that it can unlock. First, I'd like to introduce Leslie Muscuri, current scholar and soon-to-be graduate of Dartmouth College next year. Navdeep Kasi, Managing Director at Rothschild & Company, who mentored Leslie during her summer internship with Rothschild. Sandy Mays, Chief Information Officer, Chief Experience Officer, and co-founder of Zayo Group. Sandy is also a mentor for Greenhouse Scholars. And finally, my mentee, friend, and fellow DU graduate, Jose Bañales. Jose is a Greenhouse Scholar alum who landed his first job with Zayo and was recently promoted as a junior product analyst. Welcome. Sandy, I'll turn it over to you. Why is talent and diversity such a big priority for Zayo?
Being able to hire diverse talent is huge for us. When you have diverse talent, you get more innovation, and more innovation means more revenue growth. Now, Zayo has hired dozens of Greenhouse Scholars for internships and full-time positions. Jose is one of our best and brightest, and we expect big things from him. But it also helps our culture. So when you have a diverse workplace, people get along better, and it's a lot more fun. It builds our talent pool. And I got to tell you, you guys got to keep it going because the potential is extraordinary.
Thank you, Sandy. Jose, tell us about your role at Zayo.
So yeah, a little bit about my role is I provide business performance reporting, sales process support, project management of various complex product initiatives, as well as working on data mining and data integrity to support the strategic regional growth.
What do you think your job search process would have looked like without Greenhouse Scholars?
Without Greenhouse Scholars, my job search process would have been a lot more complex and difficult, just because that utilizing all the resources that Greenhouse had for me, such as a mentor like yourself, having a networking base where each scholar is allowed to contact anybody from different fields of work, not having those resources of that network, it'd be much more difficult.
Thank you. This question's for you, Navdeep. What do you believe is the opportunity for Rothschild & Company when it comes to increasing diversity and including scholars in its ranks?
It's a critical component to how we think about our ongoing success. Our strategy is very much about creating a balanced and inclusive and supportive environment. And that's one where we think diversity is celebrated and differences are valued and respected. And this is a critical part of, kind of the Greenhouse Scholar Partnership Program that we have at Rothschild. It's about increasing diversity in our talent base and making sure that we are representing the right subset of the community inside our organization.
Thank you, Navdeep, and thank you for your partnership as well.
Absolutely.
Leslie, I have a question for you. What surprised you most about your internship with Rothschild?
The fact that I learned a lot about myself, being able to reflect more on my strengths and weaknesses, and how the internship was able to provide me with a set of skills that I'd be able to use across different industries. And to me, that was very important because it made me realize what I would be looking for in the workforce after college. And I think it helped me a lot with figuring out where I'd like to work. Second thing that I would like to note, I think it was a very important aspect of the internship, was how supportive everyone was at the office. Navdeep was my mentor, and being able to have honest conversations about what I was struggling with, or dealing with imposter syndrome, which I think a lot of first-gen low-income students might face when going into the corporate world or just the workforce in general. And now I know that after college, I do want to go into the corporate world and just try to learn as much as I can.
What advice would you have for current scholars on the career front?
I think within our community, there's an information gap, and so I do think that it can get a bit overwhelming for scholars to figure out what all the big opportunities and career paths out there, learn about different opportunities out there, use networking to your advantage, because people in Greenhouse and even just outside of Greenhouse really want to see you succeed.
Leslie's response was very helpful, and it's certainly one of the things that we as an organization are very much focused on is really creating that bridge between us and an organization like Greenhouse Scholars, and making sure that we're doing the right things on our end to facilitate that early dialogue that I think Leslie was referring to.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Navdeep. Sandy, what advice do you have for the class of 2020 who are currently job searching right now?
Yeah, this is a great market to be job searching. It's also a really hard market. What I would say to you is do whatever you can to learn in this environment. Take a job, even if it's not the dream job that you wanted, and make friends. Not just kind of upwards in the organization, looking for upwards mentors, but look at your peer group. Because I'll tell you, the peer group I had when I was your age, I am still working with today. And especially if you're a Greenhouse Scholar, you have such a network. Just dive into that network, ask for help, and build strong relationships.
Thank you, Sandy. Great advice. So we come to the end of the panel. Thank you guys for your time, and most importantly, thank you for believing in our program.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Greenhouse Scholars needs to invest in and evolve our internships and career development programs to benefit scholars, alumni, and community partners. We must evolve to meet the needs now and in the future, and I invite you to join us. When you donate and select the internships and careers option, you will make it possible for us to, 1, provide coaching and knowledge building to every Greenhouse Scholar so they can find, secure, and thrive in their careers. 2, we will improve our efficiency and methodology for matching the right fit scholars with the right fit opportunities for them. 3, we will increase the number of partnerships we have with world-class companies and organizations by 5 times in the next 2 years. The opportunities I've had through Greenhouse Scholars have changed the path of my family and my community. I'm proud to say my wife Serena and I just bought our first home, and our son Diego was just born a few weeks ago. Greenhouse Scholars helps me be a strong role model for him and the next generation, and that's humbling. Thank you for making this dream a reality for more young leaders like me.
Hello again, everyone. I'm back. I hope you all enjoyed learning about some of the opportunities to support our work. We are at the final portion of our event tonight, and I would like to frame things for you. So imagine a world where everyone has opportunity, choice, and belief. Imagine a world where everyone can live a life of their choosing. I'd like you to join me now in visualizing and picturing some different scenarios. First, picture a junior high kid's daily 8-block walk to school, traveling through 3 separate gang territories, a gauntlet of recruitment and intimidation on a daily basis. Now a young girl faced with figuring out how to navigate every aspect of high school largely on her own, as her hardworking, multi-job holding mother is always at work, exhausted, and mom doesn't speak English, can't help with homework, and relies on her oldest daughter to get dinner for her younger siblings while she is at her second job. And a high school boy working on developing his self-esteem in spite of regular beatings at home. It is hard to get to a place of opportunity, choice, and belief for many of those pictures. I'd like you to join me now in visualizing another set of mental pictures. Let's start by visualizing a couple of Latino college students that are the first in their families to go to college, creating a weekend conference for Latino male high school kids to show them the path to college. And after a couple of years, the conference exposes over 1,000 low-income kids to how college can be a part of their path. Picture a high school in a low-income neighborhood with a graduation rate of less than 40%. That's right, less than 40% graduating from high school. and with less than 20% of the kids even attending college, let alone graduating from college. That high school is adopted by a group of high performers and leaders that came from similar high schools, and they create a mentorship program that significantly increases graduation and high school attendance rates. Picture an impassioned speech in front of the student body of a different but similar high school about how to overcome the most stunningly difficult of obstacles to graduate from college, from the most credible of sources, someone that came from that high school and did just that. Picture a CEO at age 29. Picture a partner at a professional services firm at 30, a homeowner at 25, a lawyer at a top 50 national law firm out of college. Picture dozens of high school teachers at low-income high schools that came from similar high schools and can speak with conviction about education as the true golden ticket. Picture doctors, PhDs, business owners, philanthropists, all of them inspiring and modeling the way, reinvesting in the young people behind them. This is what opportunity, choice, and belief looks like. This is how whole communities rising up starts. This is about everyone living a life of their choosing. This is Greenhouse Scholars.
Because of Greenhouse Scholars, I was the first in my family to graduate from college.
I am now the CEO of my own company.
Because of Greenhouse Scholars,
I am able to take my passion for education and channel it into mentoring other Latino women.
I now have a strong support system and people who continually to push me, inspire me, and challenge me to always do better.
Because of Greenhouse Scholars,
I was encouraged and supported into getting my very first internship.
I've been inspired to create opportunities among my peers who strive to make a difference in their own communities.
Because of Greenhouse Scholars,
I've been able to build on my father's commitment to helping students get a college education regardless of their family background or income level.
I am equipped with all of the resources and expertise I need to succeed.
Because of Greenhouse Scholars,
I was able to find such a great mentor that has helped me in my college process.
I have 100% confidence in where this country is going.
Because of Greenhouse Scholars, we're making a critically needed investment in higher education, leadership, workforce development, and diversity.
I find Greenhouse Scholars to be the premier organization.
Because of program components like Flex Funding, I've been able to spend 2 full summers dedicating them to being a full-time student and regaining control of my education.
The mental and emotional support that the staff and my mentor provides has gotten me through some of the toughest times.
The students we have mentored have truly become members of our family.
College isn't easy at all, but if I have the right people in my corner, I can make it through.
Greenhouse is living proof that if you surround yourself with community of high-achieving individuals, you'll have no other choice but to rise to that occasion.
Every day I'm inspired and amazed.
We've seen a number of kids get into the program, graduate, and actually give back to the communities and now are part of the Greenhouse Scholars.
10 years after I graduated from the Greenhouse Scholars program, I'm continuing to work with this organization in my own work as a professor.
Seeing the scholars pinpoint the ways they will make a difference is inspiring, and it gives me hope.
Thanks to Greenhouse Scholars, I've met the most capable and professional executives that equal or exceed any nonprofit I've had the chance to work with.
We've become much more attuned to the engagement within our community and the impact that we can have directly.
we need leaders to help problem solve. We need leaders to take initiative.
I can't wait to see what tremendous impact they will have in their communities and in our world.
We can.
We can.
We will.
We can.
We will.
We must.
We must.
We can, we will, we must. We hope that you have been inspired by what you've heard tonight, and we hope that you feel inspired to contribute and become part of the team that is helping these young people. I want to share some stats with you about Greenhouse Scholars. 97% of Greenhouse Scholars graduate. That's compared to just 14% graduation rate for all first-generation college students. And oh, by the way, 74% of scholars are first-generation college students. 81% of scholars are students of color. Now, the average adjusted gross income for our scholars' families is just $33,000. 37% of them are below the poverty line. And so, and finally, since COVID began, 73% of low-income college students have dropped out or downgraded their coursework, but that's not the story for the scholars. 98% have stayed enrolled and stayed the course. That's because they have this support. They have your support. They have the support of Greenhouse Scholars around them to help them keep moving forward. And so, can we put up our total again, our donation level? We are at, I think, at $322,000 raised so far. Please keep those donations coming. Reminder, our goal tonight is to get to $350,000, and we can do it with your help. We can't do it without your help. And so if you've been watching today and you are listening and you're hearing these stories and you feel inspired, please make a contribution. I'm going to invite my friend here to come on back and to help us understand. I mean, you already have seen some of the videos and everything that's going on, but Andrea, we're going to start off at $15,000. What we're going to do, we're going to work our way down. We're going to start high and work our way down. And we hope that when you hear a level that matches your means and matches your commitment to this organization and these kids, that you'll make a contribution and you'll stretch yourself to help us hit this $350,000 goal that we've set. And we're going to start at $15,000. I know that's a lot of money. It's also a lot of impact on a lot of kids. Can you give us an idea of what $15,000 would mean for your organization?
Yeah, it would mean a great deal. At $15,000, you would be a supporter in the top 10% of our donors nationally. That's because we're a very grassroots organization. For every scholar in the program, there are 50 donors and volunteers to support that scholar. At $15,000, you can help one of our scholars launch an innovative and entrepreneurial idea of their own. During COVID alone, we had 4 scholars launch their own socially responsible businesses, and it just shows the power of what those donations can do for us.
That is amazing. You're not just sending these kids to college, you are helping them launch their careers and change their communities. We're going to step down one level to $10,000, and $10,000 gift. Again, still a lot of money, but if you have the means, we're asking you to stretch and to make a gift of $10,000 because it will go a long way. And what would $10,000 mean for you guys?
Oh gosh, well, one of the cool things about Greenhouse Scholars is the way that the scholars are going back to their communities and working within low-income K-12 schools. And so at the $10,000 level, we can visit K-12 schools nationally through our scholars so that they can be role models and leaders for others.
That is amazing. And I can see on my iPad here that Lane and Carolyn Hornung have donated at the $10,000 level. We appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. And so much of what you guys do is about imagination and being able to imagine a different life than what these kids have seen before. Anyone else want to contribute at the $10,000 level? I see we have Elaine and Steve Berman. Thank you very much for your gift. We appreciate you. And you know, you talk about these scholars going back into their communities. I have an experience. I played in the NFL for 6 years with the Denver Broncos. It was not easy to get to the NFL, and I had never really thought about playing in the NFL until I was a senior in college. A scout came and said, "You're having a good year. It might be a possibility." That was the first time I really ever thought about it. My son and his friends, they think about it all the time. Why? Because I'm in their life. I overheard them talking one time. His friend Julian said, "Yeah, getting to the NFL can't be that hard. Mr. Reggie did it." I was like, "What?" But I think it speaks to this point that when you see somebody around you do it, and you see that that person is a regular human being, just like me, grew up just like me, it makes you believe it can't be that hard. I could do it.
Totally. I fully agree. I think that hope and raising the bar for the sense of what's possible has a great power.
Absolutely does. Okay, we're looking, we're going to step down one more level at $5,000. Want to ask if you would donate $5,000, and I see Wendy Conrad and Neil Aronson. Thank you very much for your $5,000 gifts. What would $5,000 mean for you guys?
I think one of the things that makes Greenhouse Scholars so effective is that we really leverage and engage the talent of our volunteers. And so we train volunteers to be mentors and professional networking contacts. We work with companies to make them great internship providers for our scholars. And so that would give us the ability to have this really robust program to deliver curriculum, to share information with our volunteers so that they in turn can do great things with our scholars and their communities.
That's wonderful. So at every step along the way, you are training more people to do this great work. It is really amazing. At $5,000, we want to say thank you to Rick Shuham. Thank you very much. We appreciate your gift. If you have not yet made a gift, it's easy to do. Click the Donate Now button on your screen. Follow the instructions. It's really easy. We could use your support. We hope that you will join the team. And I see we have a $5,000 gift from Stephanie Hochschild. Or did I say that right? Hochschild? So thank you very much for your $5,000 gift. Is there anyone else who'd like to contribute at this level? Click the Donate Now button, follow the instructions on your screen, and do that. Let's move down to $2,500 now. $2,500, as we're trying to grow this number and trying to get to $350,000. What would $2,500 mean?
Well, that's a scholarship for a semester of college through Greenhouse Scholars, and we certainly all know what a big deal that is.
That's amazing. And you know, you guys, it's not just that you keep people through a semester of college, you're supporting them all the way through that experience. I know that many of these kids are like me. When I was in college, I didn't have anyone, I couldn't call my parents and ask some of these questions because it was beyond their experience. But none of this is beyond Greenhouse Scholars experience, and you surround these kids with support that helps them at every step along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really effective. I never thought I'd spend my career in education, but I have stayed with this organization for so long, almost 15 years, because the results have surpassed my own expectations, and because I am so grateful to all of you who are part of this. I'm really honored.
That is amazing. And so listen, we're asking for investments at $2,500. And I'm not talking about donations. I'm talking about investments in these young lives. And we have Brian and Tucker Humphrey. Thank you very much. We have Pia and Fred Paulman at $2,500. Thank you. Dick and Andrea Burridge. Thank you very much. Oh, Burridge, that sounds like somebody's parents that we might know.
or brother in that case.
Brother. Oh, sorry to suggest that you were older than you are, Dick. But at $2,500, and this is really, you know, when I think about so many young people that I've seen who have gone to be successful, none of us do it by ourselves. We all have people who invest in us, people who see our talent, see our drive, see our passion, and they say, I'm going to invest in you. And that's what Greenhouse Scholars is asking you to do tonight at $2,500. We have Melissa Ill. Thank you so much, Melissa. We appreciate your gift. We have Ariana and Andrew Parisi. Thank you for your gift. And we have Sheila Houston and Cynthia Banks at $2,000. Thank you so much. We appreciate your generosity. Please keep those gifts coming. Can we take another look at our fundraising total and see where we are now? We are trying to get to $350,000, and with your help, we can get there. If you have not yet made a gift tonight, we hope that you will pick one of these levels and make a contribution to help us get to our goal of $350,000, because, and we'll check on that number here in just a moment. Let's move down to $1,000. Oh, I see someone's putting a note to me right here. We're at $340,000.
So close, Reggie. So close.
We are close. We're $10,000 away, and at $1,000 now. At $1,000, we can get 10 people to donate $1,000. We could get to our goal. Look at that, $340,000. What would $1,000 mean for your organization?
Well, I think we take so many things for granted in our lives. We are all privileged in lots of different ways. A significant percentage of our scholars don't have, basic supplies for their education and for college, like a laptop. And so we're able to support our scholars with things like the ability to have a laptop or even join a sports team that are core to the college experience, but they wouldn't be able to do otherwise.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, we are looking to close this gap. We're at $340,000. We have thank you to Angela and Ben Ross at $1,000. Thank you to Heather Weiner at $1,000. Thank you to Tom Croak at $1,000. Thank you to Doug Rao at $1,000. We appreciate all of you making these gifts at $1,000. Is there anyone else out there who would like to make a contribution? I see Kat Mann just popped up at $1,000. Thank you very much, Kat. Please keep those donations coming. These students need your investment, and with your help, we can get to our goal of $350,000 tonight. We're going to step down another level to $500. What would a $500 gift mean for you?
Well, I think it really means that we're able to start a relationship with you and to go deep. We really care about actually getting to know each of our supporters. And I would welcome any chance to meet with you one-on-one to learn more about your personal values and interests so that we can apply that gift to the way that would be most meaningful to you.
And that is amazing. We have some people here. We have Elaine and Regis Dompka at $1,000. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. We have Stacy and John Bingaman, Diana Virilli and David Raduziner. Oh, okay. Raduziner. Thank you very much. Denise and David Richer, the Ramathon family, and Mary Richardson. Thank you very much. We appreciate those gifts. Please keep these gifts coming. We can't do it without you. And I know that, you know, we're now in the territory where everyone can get involved, right? At $500, at $250, at $100. We hope that you'll make a contribution at one of these levels. And we understand what it takes to support these kids year round and year after year as they go through their collegiate careers and beyond. And you can be part at $500, you can be part of a $10,000 team of people. When there's 20 people donating $500, we raise another $10,000 for this organization. And so just keep those donations coming. Thank you to Mary Richardson at $1,000. Thank you to Mary Gerwin at $1,000. We appreciate you. We're going to wrap this up here in just a few minutes, but we are so close. We're at $343,000 raised so far. We need $7,000 more dollars.
Well, here's the thing. I know we're going to do it. We are relentless. We are determined. And we are inspired by our scholars to be relentless and determined because they demonstrate those qualities so much. I know, or I heard, we have 900 people watching tonight. And really, we're going to wrap it up here. We'll share with you the results after the event. I have no doubt that we're going to hit this number, but we need your help to do so. We are determined to hit the $350,000 level, and tonight is the night. But more than anything, I just want to thank you. This is an unusual year for all of us, and for you to be part of the Greenhouse Scholars now means so much to me and to our entire team. It is such a big deal. We are so honored and grateful. And I hope that you are inspired to share Greenhouse Scholars with others. So if you pick 2 other people in your life to tell them one thing about what happened tonight, that would be amazing and would really help us spread the word about the effect of our program.
Thank you, everybody. I just want to say that, first of all, our number as we stand here is 345. And so we are very confident that in the next couple of hours, people will be moved to give. We got to hit that 350. Failure is not an option. And then more than anything, as Andrea said, we're so appreciative. It is simple for me. When I think about what we're doing, and I think about all of you that are out there supporting us, the idea of you guys really being the engine behind our work is really what this is. It is a true community. We talked about community at the beginning, and you heard about it throughout, and you all are so important to our community. Thank you so much.